What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Enthusiastic Life Podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Walsh. With me is superb, wonderful, extraordinary producer of the world, Ryan Dewan.
What's up?
What's up?
You know, when you announce me, I feel like I'm like a UFC fighter, and it's like
And in this corner,
yes, the supreme reigning producer of the world.
Nice.
It's nice.
You know, I'm your hype man.
Yeah.
I got you.
I love that.
Love being a hype man.
I love having you as a hype man.
So on this week's episode, we have my friend, Reimer Priester. Reimer is the owner of Café Sous Terre. He is the owner of the Grand Porter and Un Deux Trois Café. Love breaking out a little French. And just this was a high energy episode. Reimer is so much fun. He's got such a cool, interesting story, and he brings the energy. He definitely he brings the thunder for sure.
I think this was the first podcast we actually had to move the microphone further away from the guest. No,
he is loud, and I appreciate that.
Reimer's awesome. He was, pound for pound, he might be the most enthusiastic and maybe the most passionate guest that we've had on. I think that's a great way to describe him.
Yeah.
And I loved that. You'll hear it in the pod, but I love that was his take on himself as being the best version of himself, and also being the best version for his family and for his business. Is you have to have passion.
Yeah.
And he talks about that a lot. I love that.
Yeah. And in the different stages of his life and career. And,
yeah. I loved him talking about the Peace Corps. I was in West Africa.
I did not come up in my research.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was super cool.
I loved just the way he talks about hospitality, and how you can really affect someone's day, just from a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And how that shines through in his business. And I loved how he was talking about how much he appreciates his wife, within his business, like from a design aspect, and how they work really well together. And, he acknowledges his strengths and then leaves that part to her. And I just thought that was awesome.
So this is a fun one. Lots of laughter, lots of communication with Ryan on this one. There was a lot of eye contact. There's a lot of eye contact. So
you don't see me, but I was involved.
Without further ado, please enjoy our episode with Reimer Priester. What podcast is that?
The Daily.
The Daily?
Oh, yeah. That's like, my day feels wrong if I don't make some eggs in the morning and listen to The Daily.
Okay.
Like, that's sort of my routine. That's how I kind of get.
I've never gotten The Daily. I have 3 daily podcasts.
Okay.
So I start with, what's the first one? Start Here, which is NPR.
Okay, I don't know that one.
No, Up First. Up First from
okay,
NPR.
yeah, I know that one.
So I start with Up First, and then Start Here is ABC.
Okay.
Similar format, a little bit longer. 3 stories to start your day, something fun at the end, and then Morning Brew Daily, which is a news, finance, business, but also they're younger broadcasters, so it's fun and interesting. And
do you listen to Scott Galloway at all?
Oh, we were just talking about Scott Galloway.
Yeah, he's my other go-to. Pivot.
Pivot is one of my
so good.
My non-negotiable. Always listen to that.
Yeah,
the Prof G podcast, Raging Moderates.
I love all of it. Although I will say, so I love his co-host Ed Elson, especially for a guy who's in his mid-20s. He's incredibly intelligent, thinks on his feet. Like it's sort of wow to me. But there's just that thing that Scott Galloway brings to it, where now that he's spread himself across 40 different podcasts, I miss hhim when it's just Ed Elson, because he just has another 4 decades of experience, and
he brings. He's just very. He's very. I think he's very wise. He gets things.
Yeah.
He's very. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't know if he's wise. He's very intelligent.
He is. Well,
he's working on the wisdom
part
part.
too.
Yeah, he's working on the wisdom part. There's certain points where I'm like, dude, but he's funny. So
yeah, and he cares.
And he cares, clearly.
And I think he genuinely cares. I don't think that's a
It's not artifice,
yeah.
Reimer Priester, welcome to the Enthusiastic Life Podcast.
Heck yeah.
Glad you're here.
I'm enthusiastic about it.
Can I share with you one of the things I've always loved about your name?
Sure.
So I studied French for almost my entire life.
Uh-huh.
And then I did not like my high school French teachers. There were 2 that I just could not stand. And so I bailed on AP French and took a year of German.
Okay.
And I love taking German. But one of the things that stuck... one of the things I learned is, where the I is determines the pronunciation.
Yeah.
And so you have both pronunciations in your name, which just brings me joy that it's Reimer Priester. And if you just look at the order of the words, you'll always know how to spell your name.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I literally talk about that because people are endlessly confused by my spelling and my pronunciation. Even if so let's say I walked in and we had never met. Hi, I'm Brendan. Hi, I'm Reimer. And then you saw my name. The next thing you would say is Reimer. Like, it's just for whatever reason, like, it just doesn't enter.
Yeah.
Unless you've studied German. And then I talk about the EIIE thing, and, people kind of like that story. But you actually knew it already. So
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So I can't get it wrong because one thing that I
have
learned.
the background.
Yeah. Do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Sure. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right. Well, my name's Reimer Priester. I'm a Detroiter these past 15 years.
So where do you hail from originally?
Originally from Greenville, South Carolina. Came here by way of New Orleans. Spent a couple years there. Used to be in the orchestra management field.
I have questions about this.
Not a normal pathway to Detroit. Certainly Detroit, as I was on my way here, wasn't the end game at the time. But 2-3 years in, it became the end game. Just fell in love with the city. And I think there's a Stockholm Syndrome element to it, too, because the city can also chew you up and spit you out, as it does so many people. But, I can't stop being excited about it and getting excited about the good news and being really bummed out about the bad news. But anyway, I guess that's the loose thing.
And what's keeping you busy these days?
So these days, being a restaurateur.
Okay.
I still have real estate as what I would consider to be my side hustle, property management. I do like doing that, but I think I've realized now, 3 years into owning a coffee shop and cocktail bar and then expanding from there, I think I'm really where I'm supposed to be. And sometimes it's hard to know that, especially our generation where we're not locked into a single employer, we're not locked into a single career. It does feel like every 10 years I've sort of completely reinvented my career from nonprofit fundraising to real estate development and property management now to being a restaurateur. But it feels like it's all been building toward hospitality. And of course, I've got an incredible wife. That's another big thing that locked me down. But yeah, that's what I do now. It's what I genuinely love. For the first time when I'm on vacation, am I allowed to look at it?
You can, but we might lose your sound.
Oh, okay,
So-
gotcha.
That's
Okay.
the only hard part.
That's the only hard part. Well,
So
you
I
can absolutely
look at you
incorporate
awkwardly
right.
like this. Okay. All right. Sorry. When there's somebody over there, it's hard for me not to address you.
Please, by all
Yeah.
means, we love Ryan.
But completely lost track. Looking at his big, beautiful eyes.
He has that effect on people.
I know what I was saying. It's the first time that when I go on vacation, I'm not pissed that I have to knock out some work.
Oh, okay.
That feels like a threshold.
That's
right?
a good metric.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, we're planning a trip. My wife's uncle has a place in Hawaii that we visit from time to time. And, it's essentially, we got to get there, but once we're there, all expenses paid.
That sounds nice.
So it's really great. And I'm thinking about, how am I going to take 9-10 days off? And then I'm like, well, I'll just work. And I'll have a beautiful view when I do it.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So I always like to start with an origin story, and I was having a tricky one with this. Do you remember how we met?
Yeah, Kelly was in my Leadership Detroit class.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think you might be
Funny, I'm in touch with you more than her,
That's right.
but she is our origin story.
I think you are our second guest
Okay.
from that Leadership Detroit class.
Who else? There's a great class of kids.
Andrew Stein.
Oh, yeah. Is he still at City? No, he's not at City here anymore, is he?
No, he's at the Children's Foundation.
That's right. Yeah, still helping the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. So, Leadership Detroit. It's funny that every class I find, so Leadership Detroit is just an amazing program in the city, but every class calls themselves the best class ever.
Well, that's the whole thing, and they really drive that into you. It's like inculcated. You were supposed to announce to all people that you're the greatest class ever, and you were supposed to say it so often that I kind of was like, I'm not a joiner by nature, so by the end of it, I'm like, I'm not going to speak when it comes to that. I think we are a great class, and I loved our classmates.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucked is shortly after it ended, as we were starting to develop, those kind of outside of Leadership Detroit threads, the pandemic hit. And then I feel like, I still encounter people from now and again, but those bonds sort of fizzle a little.
That's a bummer.
Even though I think about them, maybe this is the moment that I reach out and start reconnecting with some of my buddies.
We have an audio accountability tool right here.
Yeah, right here. Were you in Leadership Detroit? Did you do it?
No, I never did it.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't have a good reason.
I mean, for some, I do think there's a certain. It's great for networking, but you already network well and easily. It's not necessary for a lot of people. I think it's for people who are very much upwardly mobile. You're already at the top of this company. Where else are you going to go, right? And you got a huge network already, so it might just take a lot of time and not offer much value for you.
I don't know. So you went to Duke.
I did.
How did you end up at Duke?
Okay, so a little sad story.
Oh, we're going to bring it down.
Yeah. Here we go. So originally I wasn't looking at Duke at all when I was applying for colleges. I was originally kind of looking at very small liberal arts-oriented Northeast kind of schools, like Ithaca and Haverford and Swarthmore and Amherst and places like that. For whatever reason, that was very attractive to me. I think I was very intimidated by like larger schools. But then as I was applying, my dad got into a car accident and died.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And so I told you it was sad. And how
old were you?
17
at
the time. And
gosh.
I was like, well, shit, I need to sort of reorient where I'm going to go. I didn't want to go far away. I didn't want to be a flight away from my family. And so Duke was the school that just kind of stood out from the other ones that I had tried. It was really the only one I toured in the Southeast. And so I applied early decision, and I was fortunate enough to get in. Actually, my sister and I think, have a familial record. We have combined between the two of us only applied to one school, because she also applied early decision to Duke. So she and I overlapped 1 year. She was a freshman, I was a senior.
Oh, that's so cool.
But, I did end up there sort of accidentally, but I will say this, wouldn't have gone anywhere else, in retrospect.
Duke alum are
loved that.
Passionate about Duke, for sure.
It was a great school.
It's a beautiful campus.
Oh, so pretty. I remember, especially that last semester.
And heyday of Coach K years.
Dude, I think we won 2 championships while I was a student.
Yeah.
And then another 1 or 2 right afterward. Just crazy times. But yeah, no, I remember you talking about the beauty of the campus, and I remember you start realizing, oh God, this is all going to slip away. So like that last semester, every time I would cross the campus, I would try to just absorb as many of the details as I possibly could, because I'm like, this is it, it's all going to be over. It was glorious. I loved it.
So what got you into the arts and into, because, you go from there and you're doing, you're working with symphony orchestra. You got the Greenville Symphony Orchestra, Louisiana Philharmonic, and then eventually the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
Notes.
I prepare.
You got the notes.
Professional.
Yeah. Learn from this guy.
So how did you get in the music industry, specifically into symphonies and philharmonics? Because that's a very niche business.
It's extremely niche. Okay, so the real answer is I was going to Duke, loved the Duke experience, but really wasn't doing much with the education. I was taking the classes, and I was
What did you study?
Average grades, public policy.
Okay.
But public policy is just this one-size-fits-all major for somebody who has no idea what they want to do. It's like getting a degree in, a business degree or something like that. That's sort of where I was. I was like taking classes to get a degree, to graduate from college, because that's what you do. But my first semester senior year, I had a professor who I'd been told I need to take classes from. His name is Bruce Payne, still a friend and mentor of mine. And it was very much leadership in the arts kind of space class. And we got to know each other, and he invited me for my second semester senior year, a time when literally nobody is studying abroad. I'm from the South, so New York might as well be abroad. But he had this leadership in the arts in New York program where it was the most in-depth arts immersion program that you could possibly imagine. We went over the course of a semester to dozens of plays, 17 operas, 20 symphony concerts.
Amazing.
Art gallery openings, meeting the cast, meeting the producers, meeting the directors, meeting the composers.
In New York?
In New York. Living there and but experiencing the city. Like, our classroom was the city. I can't overstate
so cool
how affecting this was. And so all 3.5 years of school, I'm just wondering, what the devil am I going to do, and what am I going to connect with? And through that, so by the end of it, a lot of the students, there's like 20 of us each semester, you're kind of burned out. You've been to so many things, and you're discussing it in depth, and it's inspiring, and sooner or later your brain's just about to explode, right?
Yeah.
I was one of 2 kids who was going to extra shows, like buying extra tickets, because it was just like, give me the drugs, like I was just obsessed. And then from that point, they hooked me up with an internship at Glimmerglass Opera in Cooperstown, New York. Thing I always like to say about that. So Cooperstown, everybody knows Baseball Hall of Fame, right?
Sure.
So the funny thing is, the Cooperstown people, the people who go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, have no idea that this world-renowned summer opera festival is there, and the Glimmerglass people have no idea there's a Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's right.
It's just like
I totally get that.
Two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and that kind of locked me into that sort of orchestral space. And then when I came back, my mom had been on the board of the Greenville Symphony Orchestra, and frankly, she helped me get an internship. And I loved that, and so I did that, and that kind of gave me a foothold there. So I went to West Africa for 2.5 years with Peace Corps after that, so obviously hit a pause in the orchestra thing. But when I came back, that was sort of the career that made sense for me.
Tell me about your Peace Corps experience.
I mean, completely redefines everything about the world and how you feel you fit in it and see in it. I mean,
So there, since we both listened to Scott Galloway, he talks about how there's a lack of, he talks about having mandatory service, right?
Which
like
I am so strongly in
So
favor of.
tell me about what it's like taking 2 years out and going to serve, because I think it's important. I think it's super important, and would love to hear what that was like for you.
Yeah, it's hard to summarize the whole thing, but I committed to joining Peace Corps, interestingly, when I was a senior or junior in high school. I went to this...
That early?
Yeah. I went to this program called the International Baccalaureate Program, IB, and there's a really strong community service element to it. Like, you have to do a fair amount of it, like, to actually graduate. And it just felt good. It felt good all the time. I remember the moment that I committed to it, because I was doing one of these Adopt a Highway things, just picking up trash along the highway with my friends and enjoying every second of it, because you could literally see the impact you're having, right? Sometimes if you're tutoring underprivileged kids or making a donation to a thing, you don't necessarily see the impact, but there was just something about picking up trash along the side of the highway that felt so fulfilling. So I committed then, and that's what I wanted to do. I was like, part of my life, it's so many check boxes. I wanted to become fluent in another language, so I spoke French the whole time that I was there. I wanted to commit myself entirely to service, just away from the rat race, away from career. And I wanted to live in a foreign country for a certain amount of time, just to get a completely different perspective. And, any foreign country you live in, perhaps outside of maybe Canada or something like that, is a very different experience. But when you're living in a mud hut with a thatched roof, no water or electricity or internet or anything like that, you really are living a completely different life. You couldn't get to me through normal means. The only way to get there was a couple of connections into Conakry, the capital, then a minimum 18-hour bush taxi ride across the country to Kankan, the prefectural capital. Then you got to get another bush taxi that's going to be way worse than the one you drove across the country. Then another couple hours to Mandiana, the capital of the largest city near me, and then another hour to Faralaco, my tiny little village. So getting there was horrible for anybody.
And what country was this in Africa?
Guinea.
Guinea. Okay.
Yeah. So what do I say about it? It made me so much of the human I am. The thread here between my current career and Peace Corps is, the thing about hospitality is, to love it, you have to be of service, right? You have to want to take care of people, right? You have to want to serve them, literally.
Yeah.
But it's also an emotional thing too. It's not just bringing a cup of coffee or helping somebody build a healthcare center. It's that emotional support as well. And so, it was wild. The coming back was crazy too. I didn't come back to the country for the whole 2.5 years, which is a really long time to be away from your people. But that was just part of what I wanted to do. Like, I just wanted to see, can I live outside of my own country for that long?
Yeah.
I think I was the only person who never went back to the States, like in my class. But it was exceptional. I haven't been back since then, which is sort of sad. But again, getting there, it's like when you're right out of college and you're ready to just be scruffy and dirty all the time and all that's fine. But once you start locking into your creature comforts, realizing that it's going to take 2 weeks trip minimum to get out there.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can't tell them that you're coming. There's no mail. There's no electricity. There's no cell phone. So you'd basically have to be like, surprise!
I'm here.
I flew across the world to visit with you.
Right.
And to me, that was like a really big barrier. There's no way to communicate with people in my village to tell them I was coming. I guess that's the broad version.
Yeah. So 8 years in the arts. I gotta ask. So you know my background in music, right?
We have talked about that. Yeah.
So do you have favorite pieces of music from your time working in symphonies? I'm not asking for your favorite. I'm gonna go like top 3. I'm gonna go like the high fidelity, like top 5, no particular order.
The piece that melts me every time is the Clair de Lune. I know that's generic. Everybody says that. But that's one of those things that if I hear it, even on a movie soundtrack, I just have to stop, and kind of melt.
Yeah.
I didn't lock in with too much contemporary music. El Nino was the opera that I thought was the most interesting of kind of the contemporary class. But again, I haven't really listened to opera for 20 years. So, this is old news. But pieces, it's hard, dude. I really love the Easter Overture. That's a piece that kind of locks me in. I really love the Symphonie de Andaluz, the Spanish composer whom I
don't know. You're getting me right now.
It's one that you'll be familiar with. Those are some like off the tip of my head that I lock in. I have to ask you then. Being an actual music, so I'm a music appreciator. I can't read music on a page or anything like that.
No kidding.
No knowledge or skill set there.
Okay.
You actually have professionalism.
I do.
So tell me.
I think one of my all-time favorites is what affected me. I remember most in person was seeing. I remember exactly where I was sitting with my dad at the DSO. Was Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like 14 or 15, and it made me cry.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And it just blew me away.
Yeah.
Totally
blew
me away.
I was thinking Rachmaninoff, but I couldn't remember which one it was.
Well, so the third's the most famous, but the second is almost equally as beautiful. So yeah. So you're working in arts. Mm-hmm. You're not from Detroit, but you're here. And then what was the catalyst to get you to stay? And then how do you get from that into being your own boss, starting a business, doing property management, entrepreneurship?
Right. So where do I start?
Because it's a jump.
It's a jump. It's a big jump. So my dad and mom were entrepreneurs. My dad's dad was an entrepreneur. There was this sense that I was always supposed to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But for most of my life, I had no idea what that was. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But it's so weird to say this.
Nobody talked about entrepreneurship when we were younger.
No, that wasn't a career choice.
Right.
Really, you just sort of ended up on it.
Yeah.
But we were the
not like today.
No, nothing like today.
Yeah.
Well, no, because we were. So how old are you? We're really close.
Yeah, 47.
You're 47. Okay, I'm 45, or I will be shortly. Okay,
yeah.
So we're same age. We so much of our early career was defined by the downturn, right? The economic collapse that happened and all this, and economies just shifted. They were already shifting, but they got so dramatically different, especially how businesses interact with their communities and how our generation was going to see what career looked like. Because I think going into career, we were picking a career. We were the last generation of.
Stay there for 40 years, get a gold watch and a pension, and
that's not all millennials. I think it's just those of us, the elder millennials. I guess you're a baby Gen Xer. I'm an elder millennial.
I am a solid cusper, right? Like when you look at the ranges of X and millennial, I'm like literally a blurred line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we're digital natives, but we're social media and cell phone immigrants.
And grew up analog.
Yeah.
We're born analog. Grew up in a digital era.
Yeah.
There was a great article I read once that referred to us as the Oregon Trail generation. And I loved it.
Also true, never played it, but was aware of it.
Definitely played it.
Yeah. You're supposed to.
You have died of dysentery. Yeah.
I've had it many, many times.
Really?
It never took me though.
Dysentery. Well, you are here.
Like a thing that you just have
in Africa.
Drinking pump water and eating food that's been sitting out with flies and then poop and then your food.
So
anyway, sorry to get back to it. So it was like I knew I had to inherit the mantle, and I lived my whole life up until the point that I did start building my own businesses under terrific conviction that sooner or later I would find it, but I wasn't chasing it, right? I was waiting for it to kind of find me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a weird mental space to be in. Probably white privilege and all these other things is just somebody would just think, yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is going to be fine.
Business.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love this.
Business.
And let's do business, shall we? May I have your card? Thank you, sir. Oh, put it in my Rolodex.
Yes. Rolodex.
Yeah, that was still a thing.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was making calls, like when I was
spinning
inheriting.
around.
Yeah, like when I was inheriting these development departments, they're like, here are my Rolodex.
Dude, I remember training people and telling them about Rolodex, and I got blank stares. And I was like, okay, we need to change this, right? It's like it's spinning through the contacts in your phone, and have tried to stop somewhere, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
and there was never really a really good app that you could take a photo and it would automatically upload.
I know.
Does that exist now? It's got.
I'm sure it does, but
I'm sure AI can just do it for you.
Yeah.
Whatever. So Detroit was weird because when I was working for the orchestra, I mean, this was a 7-day-a-week job, all day, every day. It was my entire life, right? And I was making friends and slowly kind of getting into the community, but you just lived that life, and that was the life you lead. I don't know. I mean, I like when restaurants were opening. That was like kind of starting this sort of wave that we've been on since then of like new, interesting, cool restaurants actually opening. After about a year here, another death story. My grandfather passed away, and he left me a couple $100,000. And it wasn't money that I was counting on, thinking about, or budgeting for. And so I just decided that would be my Detroit fund, right? I've got money, and if I cook through it and I lose it, well, that sucks, but like I wasn't counting on it. It was never factored into anything about my future, right? So I just took it on as pure risk capital and started just kind of asking everybody I met, are you involved in real estate? Because that seems really cool. Because it seemed to me, in my mindset, that the thing that Detroit needed more than anything else was real estate development. You needed rehab, you needed reactivation of all the spaces that had crumbled, over the previous generation or two. I mean, that was my way of thinking. Obviously, there are a million ways you could help, but that was sort of where my mind was. Again, that concrete thing, that thing that you can do, that you can physically see, makes a difference. Just like picking up trash along the highway. And so I initially got to know a guy named Tommy O'Flynn, and he was kind of dabbling in the space. And he was good friends with this guy named Alex DeCamp, who, of course, you know.
Our buddy Alex.
And so Tommy introduced me to Alex, and 3 of us eventually bought and rehabbed the building where Café Sous Terre is right now. And I got the bug, and Alex got the bug. And Tommy was like, I think I'm good. Maybe wisely, let's be honest. Maybe wisely. And so, it got to the point. So we started kind of putting our toes into the auction. I think that's gone now. But, when they're auctioning all the lost properties, right?
Yep. The Detroit Land Bank.
Yeah, exactly. And at the time, it was, 50,000 properties.
Sure.
On auction. Just like the numbers were just, holy crap, startling, right? And Alex and I were like, let's just try our hand at some properties. And I remember that I could think of nothing else. Like, my heart was beating fast when I was bidding on these properties. The excitement was just so palpable. And it got to the point where, again, we're just doing little things on the front end, but it was all I could think about. I couldn't focus on my orchestra work anymore. So I gave my 3-month notice.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to leave anybody in the lurch. I didn't want to burn any bridges, but I knew this life wasn't for me anymore. I had to do this. It was such a calling at the time. And so Alex and I started, building our interesting little vision centering around, although our Midtown property was the first, our focus really was the villages. Yeah. So West Village, Indian Village area, you could think of sort of the center of it, and then that surrounding areas. And we recruited some investment out of New York. They're still investors with us, even as we're winding down now, and friends. And that's just what we did for the next 8 or 10 years. The pandemic was a massive kick in the pants to our very low margin, small development related stuff. And that's part of the reason why both he and I pivoted to hospitality. Interestingly, him in the short-term rental space and me in the restaurant space. But especially early on, holy crap. It's the most exciting thing in the world. And I still, to this day, get a massive thrill every time I take a crappy old building and turn it into something special. And I haven't done that recently because we haven't done a lot of renos. But I did do it with Sous Terre. I did do it with the Grand Porter. And there's just so much of its own value just in watching that transition occur, knowing that, you know, if I were to die tomorrow, at least that thing was better.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I mean, that was the long and the short of it. It just captured me, dude. It captured me really hard.
And then
the pandemic happened.
yeah, and then so how do you go from there to restaurants, cafes?
My ultimate calling?
Yeah.
I hope it's my ultimate calling. I hope I do this for longer than 10 years. I really, really do, because I really, really enjoy this stuff. So I think it's where I always wanted to be in the end. But I think a lot of stories of like business success tends to lean on like apocryphal truth, you know, to a certain extent, that like, I always knew this is where I was going to be. And I think
The apple falling from the tree, right? Like
Right.
that, yeah.
yeah, or everything led up to this moment. And to a certain extent, I guess that's true of every moment. But you know, for me, I think I'm still figuring out who I am. Here
We were just talking about
almost
this.
45.
Ryan and I were just talking about this. That's amazing. Like,
Who are you, Ryan?
producer extraordinaire Ryan Dewan. But we were talking about how, like, imagine if you were 25, looking where are you where you would imagine you would be now? And I don't think anybody could say. I mean, very few people could say, yeah.
No. Would I be happy at 25 if I knew this is where I would be? The answer would be yes.
Yeah.
I know that. But would I have ever thought that I'm doing this? No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And I think that does sort of cycle back to our generation not necessarily thinking of life as a single career thing. I think your trajectory is uncommon, but your family built this incredible business that you have the ability to continue to improve on, and obviously you've done a great job of that. My dad was also an entrepreneur, but they sold the business. So there was nothing for me to move into or inherit. And frankly, it was electronics and technology, and I had zero interest in any of it. So I don't think I would have, even if like the door were opened and I was asked to walk through it. But be that as it may, even at my orchestra side, the things that I got most excited about were I rebuilt the donor experience, and specifically the donor lounge. So I'm sure you've been to the donor lounge.
Yes.
It was, so in 2011, it was almost unused and a pathetic experience. Everything about it sucked. And one of my really proud things, the thing that I spent a lot of time thinking about, was how do I make that experience exciting? Now, I justified it by saying, well, that way it'll be easier for me to recruit new donors and all this kind of stuff. But that was BS. It's because I wanted to create this really cool hospitality experience.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been there in years. But, you know, by the time I left, there were lines out the door every single intermission and every single before concert, and even people would hang out afterward. It was like, it was a real social center. I was wildly proud of that. So that hospitality element was there. And then I actually thought about property management as a hospitality thing. Slowly over the course of me being a property manager, I was disabused of that notion, because the kind of things that you want to be able to provide in the hospitality space, unless you're doing super luxury housing with massive margins and all this kind of stuff, there's just no fat to trim. Especially in Detroit, where rents are low. I mean, you're lucky if you're making anything above holding costs for a lot of these properties. And so I wasn't able to invest in that in a way that I really would have preferred. And I think part of the reason, that's part of what started moving me psychologically away from the property management space and into hospitality. And, you know, it gets back to service. It gets back to, I think creating great gathering places is also a fuck you. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
You're good. Yeah, you're
Okay.
safe.
To all the hate and the fear and the shit we have to wade through politically, right? And I genuinely, even though obviously I have my very firm beliefs, and I think you and I are wildly similar in the vast majority of them, I also think that I shouldn't hate people on the other side of the aisle.
Sure.
I just don't think it's a healthy thing. And I think one of the only ways that we can bridge these gaps is by being in physical proximity to one another. Because, and I actually use my neighbors, who are hardline Trumpers, as an example of this. They're hardline Trumpers, we're liberals, and politically we have no overlap, but we are good neighbors to one another. We care for one another, we're super civil, there's no property boundary. Their dog comes and hangs out on our lot. My daughters run over there and chase their dog all the time. Like, it's really nice. And that only happens in the physical plane. Because once you put it all the dialogue over into the digital space, you can't talk about it. It's just all rage. And of course the algorithms do what they do to just promote all that kind of crap.
Right.
And I think by creating places that people want to be, not a single kind of person, but just people want to be. It's so easy for you to sit next to somebody who might be completely different from you politically, but you don't launch right into that, right? You launch right into, oh, wow, you ordered that egg sandwich. I got the egg sandwich too. What do you think? And you're bonding over just the little things that we bond about, right?
So where did the idea of Café Sous Terre come from? So a Parisian cafe and bar. I mean, obviously, Detroit has its French roots.
That's not
You're
why.
a fluent French speaker.
I am. Well, was. I mean, that was 20 years ago. I'm pretty...
I was at one time as well,
ready.
but it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I was like tempted. Do we talk now, or is it just going to get awkward?
I would literally just be struggling because I can think it and I can read it really well still and I can understand it, but it's been a long time. My daughter's going to start taking French next year and I'm very excited.
Yeah, you'll get to practice with her?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So first of all, I've been a Francophile my whole life. The connection isn't the Detroit is the Paris of the Midwest. That's totally ancillary. I mean, it's nice to talk about that thing, but that's not why it's a French bar. It's a French bar because I'm a Francophile. And then all the other elements it's just so autobiographical, the whole experience of the place. From the portrait of my grandfather playing with Dizzy Gillespie in one corner. I think I pointed that out to you when we got drinks the other day. So obviously we have 2 nights of jazz every single night. And like that to me, it took over a year to like find the kind of artist that would fit in that space or even be willing to like experiment with it because it's so small and where do you even put them and how does it work? So the jazz element is super personal. The Parisian element is super personal. I moved here from New Orleans where, cocktails are my preferred thing to drink. I mean, you've got wine people and beer people. I'm a cocktail guy, man. Through and through and through. That's the one thing I can't shake. So that mattered an awful lot to me. The coffee thing, I mean, coffee is the other thing. And coffee's great on a number of levels. First of all, every study that comes out nowadays shows that basically as long as you're drinking coffee 2 to 3 cups a day and not overloading it with cream and sugar, it's really good for you. It's good for you psychologically. It's great. They've shown like an 18%
healthy pitch for Café Un Deux Trois.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
and where can one find Café? And some people might not know that Café Un Deux Trois is yours.
It is. Yeah. Well, it's part of the Café Sous Terre umbrella.
Okay.
So managed by Café Sous Terre. And it's right at 1000 Nick Gilbert Way at the New Hudson's building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully people... So Bedrock made us stay open during the winter. It's an outdoor cafe.
Right.
In a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
When the average temperature this winter was like 12. And so I'm not exaggerating. We had whole months that sold as much as we sold in a really good day during the holiday season. Whole months. I mean, which means you'd go hours without selling a single cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like it's absurd. But I mean, that was part of our deal, and they do support us. I mean, they help
they didn't leave you high and dry.
Cover losses and stuff like that. But still, it's like what you can't cover is the sort of morale.
Yeah.
Of sitting out there by yourself in a wintry wind tunnel with nobody else around. You can't pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could pay for therapy in a couple of years or something like that.
But Sous Terre, I mean, the design element, it's very cool. It's a very fun place to hang out.
Well, that's my wife.
Okay.
I assume you queued that up, so thank you. I would not have opened Sous Terre and probably wouldn't have done anything were it not for the enormous faith I have in my wife's exceptional interior design talent. She's since gone. She was working for another company. She's since gone independent. So now she's her own Reimer Priester design. And she's incredible. She's such a talent. I have none of those talents. I am not an artistic person. And so to be able to craft the space, because there are the 3 pedestals of hospitality, right? 1, you got to have the quality product. 2, you got to have the quality service. And 3, it's got to be in a beautiful atmosphere, beautiful environment. I could do 1 and 2. I couldn't do 3. So it's really nice that I happen to have fallen in love with and married somebody who has that on lock. So everything I'll ever do in the future, if I'm fortunate enough to continue in this industry, will be designed by her.
So you have Café Sous Terre, and then Café Un Deux Trois.
Yep, that opened
Under the umbrella.
in November of last year. And then December of last year, I opened up the Grand Porter. And that's been a learning experience. It's gone... The trend is really good because, again, we have great service in a beautiful environment with incredible food and drink. The challenge is a couple. 1, don't open up 2 concepts within a month of one another. That's insane. I mean, like, I'm one of these people that just doesn't accept that I have limits, and so which means I just run smack into them, right? At full speed every time. And that was one of them where, I mean, it's just like, it's nonstop. And I don't have some large, bureaucracy of people that I can lean on. So
Right.
it was just me figuring all this crap out all at the same time. Now, I had great staff and all this sort of stuff, but it's not like I had, people who were just on the administrative side or anything like that who could just do that. I mean, I need people to be baristas and bartenders too. So that was insane. Also, don't open up a restaurant way off the beaten path in the middle of the worst winter years. That's
Right.
another lesson. But things are thawing and getting better, and the trends are all very good. But I mean, I'm so happy and so proud, and it feels so cool to like have 3 concepts and to have gone from 1 to 3 almost overnight, right? I mean, it was 2 years before I opened up, or 2.5 years before I opened up the second and third one. But now here we are getting into better months, and I'm feeling a lot better about it. But dude, this winter was rough.
So what are some of the things that you've learned from, along that winding road, from working in music to getting into property magic to getting into hospitality? Like, what are some of the big things that you've learned along the way?
Oh, that's such a hard question to answer right now. What are some of the big things that I've learned along the way? Thing number 1 is I'm very not good at anything if I'm not deeply passionate about it. Some people can just come in and do the work and knock it out. But if I am not excited, I'm a C+ student. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I am. That's a very personal thing. I'm just so passion driven. It's part of the reason why I would open up. I mean, you can think of the Grand Porter as sort of the perfect example. It's on Porter Street. It's off the beaten path of Southwest. It's into Southwest Detroit, but like, you're never going to walk past this place, right? So you have to go to it. You have to learn about it and get there. But like I keep learning my weak spots. Café Sous Terre, fortunately, does not cost a lot to run because there's never more than 2 people on staff at any one time. And staffing is obviously by far the largest cost for these sort of things. I've always paid people above what you consider typical wages for that. So like my staff pre-tip starts at $15 an hour, and I have we've found pathways to be able to offer low-cost health insurance too, which is
That's great.
Yeah. So that's really neat. But what I'm learning with so Sous Terre started, and it just, I don't know, a bunch of influencers just kind of found out about it, showed up, and then were there and posting about it, and getting 100,000 likes and all this sort of stuff. I had no idea this was happening. I didn't orchestrate any of it. It was just there, and it was cool. And so like it started, and it didn't get to where it was netting positive until well after year 1 or anything like that. But it wasn't dragging either. It covered its cost most of the time. And that was huge, right? And it was a risky investment that I just kind of wanted to see, can I do this? Do I want to do this? Is it okay if I keep looking at you?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, sorry. If there's somebody in my field, I have to.
I'm gonna go state it now.
All good.
Yeah. And so to get back to it, and so with Porter, because I started at the dead wrong time to open up a restaurant and off the beaten path thing. I mean, Café Sous Terre is right in the heart of Midtown. So even though we're in a basement and try to hide away from people did find us. I invested nothing really in PR, marketing, publicity at all. And I needed to have done that. I needed to have done that before I did it. So right now I'm in the catch-up game. And it's doing things that I think before I just didn't want to do, like reaching out to influencers and asking if they might come by and let me pay you a little something to do. I mean, that's their business model, let's be honest. But before I was like, I'd never do that. Oh, I'm above all that. Now it's like, hey, will you just respond to my DMs? I want to pay you. Listen to me. I need to tell people about this place because I'm so proud of what we built. It's legitimately really, really good, and people that do go love the shit out of it. But it's not easy to clear, through the massive crap. To let the world know. And so that's the learning curve I'm on right now, is the importance of publicity, because food and beverage, I'm not saying anything people haven't said 1,000 ways from Sunday. It's not an easy career to win in. You've got all these people now a whole generation of people who their idea of entrepreneurialism is let's build an app, right? And great apps are hard to come by for sure, but they're also really low cost, generally speaking, right? Nowadays, you can vibe code 27 apps a day. Right? But you want to open up a restaurant, hundreds of thousands of dollars in build out, then significant product holding and staffing costs. So it's a very risky way to like dive in and do this. And you just can't forget about any of the details, because unless you're just lucky, and I will be honest, even though I put my heart, soul, and intellect into Café Sous Terre, the success has been lucky.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Grand Porter hasn't been as lucky yet. And so I'm trying to build that. So that's one of the lessons is I think it's so easy to be intellectually lazy about everything. The world is just coming at you at 1,000 miles a second. And, having to take care of our spouses and our children and our businesses, sometimes it's really hard to stay focused. And I just realized, holy crap, you have to be focused every single day. And I'm not talking about 9 to 5 focused or Monday through Friday focused. I'm talking about 24/7 focused. And that can be very exhausting.
Yeah.
But I really love it. So that gives you the energy, right?
So that's a good segue to my last question that I ask all our guests.
Dun, dun, dun.
Reimer, what is something that's bringing you joy right now?
Yeah, let me think. Can I use the bathroom and then come back? No. What brings me joy? One answer? Multiple answers?
Whatever you want.
This will sound perfunctory, but my family actually does. It's totally true. Like my youngest, who is like we call her a tiny terrorist.
How old is she?
She's almost 2, and
Okay.
she has no off switch. She sleeps well. Thank God, she sleeps well. But she is meddling in something or needs something. And I'm not exaggerating here, always. Every second. And I've always known this, but like even just this weekend, my wife and daughter are in New York for a fun little weekend. My eldest daughter, sorry.
And your eldest is how old?
She is just turned 7.
Okay.
Turned 7. And so it was just me, because her whole family's gone. Usually they're helpful, so like all of them are gone. And this 2-year-old, and the time was intimate and wonderful. And she's so funny. But I felt like a stereotype of a parent. When I put them down for her nap or at night, I literally just crashed on the couch. Or you could just imagine the scene, and it wasn't me being dramatic. It's just like I was gassed. Holy crap. But I love spending time with them, and I love spending time with my wife, although, of course, at this phase, you don't ever spend enough time with your wife.
No, never enough time.
And, I'd say that's one of the challenges is like you want to be able to, but, you're together in physical proximity, but quality time, that's hard. So that's one of my 2026 goals is
Love it.
to find pathways to invest a little bit more in there. Because it needs to happen. Every relationship needs that sort of intent. And the other thing, honestly, hospitality brings me joy. I would like to be able to have more time to be in the front lines. When I opened up Sous Terre, I worked 2 shifts a week as a barista, and I loved it. I got to know my regulars. I developed real relationships. When I was a barista in college, I still have friends from my regular customers from when I was a barista while I was a Duke.
That's cool.
So those are the 2 things. Like I am where I want to be, and certainty is also nice. There's always something that's going to come underneath us and sweep the rug out. But right now, I feel really certain that I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Love it. So where can people find Café Sous Terre and Grand Porter and Café Un Deux Trois?
Okay. Café Sous Terre. I'll go in order of when they open. Café Sous Terre, 445 West Forest Avenue, right across the street from the Hillberry Gateway, the new theater extension that opened, just off Forest and Cass on Forest, in a basement. We like to hide. Then Un Deux Trois opened at the new Hudson's Tower in the little piazza, the Nick Gilbert Way that is between the 2 towers, the residential and the office tower. And then the Grand Porter is just off the corner of Grand and Porter, hence the name. Probably shocking. 3620 Porter Street.
And then Instagram, Facebook, all the places.
By those names.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, Un Deux Trois Detroit, because there are other Un Deux Trois out there, not in Detroit, but the play, it's Detroit.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a lot of people to get there, a minute to get
I gotcha.
there. But they get there. You got there, because you're a French guy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Those are the spots.
Well, Reimer, thank you so much for being here and being on the podcast. It was awesome.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you so much to Reimer Priester for being on the podcast. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Just an absolute blast of a conversation. If you enjoyed it, if you like the podcast, again, don't forget to, if you want to learn more about Café Sous Terre or the Grand Porter or Café Un Deux Trois, you can find them on social media, those names, and check them out. They are very cool spots, I can tell you that. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please like, subscribe, follow us wherever you listen or watch, and spread the word. If we want to get more positivity out there in the world, and the more likes and subscriptions we have, the more it improves the algorithm and people find us out there. So we really appreciate our audience. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll look forward to having you back here next time. So have a great day, weekend, morning, evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you again.